Alright. I don't know. I was gonna do something. Let me see. This whole thing is gonna backfire like a stegosaurus who just ate a truckload of chili. Hold on a second. I'm gonna... So I was thinking maybe I go over the blues thing again, but this time in the key of E, just so we could switch things up. So I'm thinking that's what I'm gonna go to after. Let me get my quick setup process here, and check the... Alright, so I'm thinking I'll just warm up here, at least starting out with, I don't know, a collection of notes that are in, let's see, collection of notes. So I'm gonna go back to the blues thing, but this time I'm gonna go to going back and forth between the E major and minor, and analyze that one. But for now, let's just get warmed up. I'm gonna maybe go on this collection of notes around G. So that means position 1 over here would be here. So open string to here, which means my finger in position is probably most likely going to start on like position 2, which has that box shape right here. So I'm kind of trying to locate the box shape as my anchoring point for these, as one place to anchor. So I have the box here. Ionian's right up top, G Ionian, and then this would be position 3, and in position 3 you get the box shape that is here. This is position 3. Box shape is right in the middle, and then because of the shift up in the tuning, the box shape is down here, so it doesn't get split up because of the kink in the tuning, at least in the back of the guitar like that. So we move up forward. So, you know what? goes on. So I wonder if I try to do a nice kind of melody like that, if I can do some weird picking in there, or if that'll totally mess it all up. There's some pain in my shoulder here. I don't know. Let's see what I had a joke today. Let's see what I got today. I'm back into the drama today with my joke. Because, I mean, I don't know. There was a whole thing on the conspiracy theory here. I feel like I got to give my 2 cents on this, okay? Because people need to know what I think. People need to know. I have nothing to do with it, but people need to know what I think about the internet dramas. And like, I feel like you got crazy people that are saying crazy stuff, and I would compare it to like, you know, there's a tantrum happening in the supermarket, and everybody's gathering around to see it, and you have an opportunity to say, you know, we should just move on, and then everything will be okay. But no, you have rewarded the tantrum, right? Because you're trying to appease the tantrum. That's what I feel like. It's trying to be graceful, or I get it, but I don't think you're understanding the motivation here. From a tactical standpoint, this is not how you deal with a tantrum. You don't validate. You don't go and this is not good. I don't know. That's what maybe I'm wrong. That's my 2 cents. I would just say, I would have had, like, I would have deconstructed every nonsense narrative out there and then just said, all right, I'm not dealing with this anymore, and that would have been the way to go, it seems to me. But I don't know. Anyways, I'll continue on with here's my rant about it. This is random trolls. The trolls are out there. So here's the build up. We're in the political thing again. You've got the trolls that are making bank off of conspiracies of tragedies, which seems like really kind of gross to me. You know, but. And so now it's like, well, what do? Do you address the craziness, or do you just kind of move forward, or do you? And I would think you would address it, but you wouldn't actually go. You wouldn't shine. You mean you just do it on yourself. Just show all the crazy stuff. Okay, anyway, that's the. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, the online conservative trolls don't argue anymore. They just manifest, man. They lie. They float rumors. They drop innuendo like it's a cryptocurrency, and somehow they get rich off of other people's goodwill. It's starting to get ridiculous, which is wild, because goodwill is the one thing they never seem to have, right? They're spending everybody else's goodwill, and everybody else is so dang charitable that they have an endless supply of goodwill until the charitable people don't have any more, and then you're going to be out of luck. Everyone's going to be out. They have no shame. No shame. It's wild out there, man, I tell you. And the second anyone asks for accountability for cashing in on wildly unhinged conspiracies about a topic they insist is deeply personal, scarred to them, They try to slip out scot-free. It's like they robbed the grocery store and then they try to slip out scot-free. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, man. You can't get off scot-free. You can't just get off scot-free like that, for crying out. I mean, is your name Scott? Is your name Scott? No. Not unless you're dipping into the conspiracies you were pretending to debunk like just yesterday. Then you can't be Scott, right? So, and if you're not Scott, then what are we even doing here? What are we even doing? We have only one legal loophole for free stuff in this country, and it's apparently being named Scott, because that's when you get the scot-free stuff for some reason. I don't know why, but that's it. That's the system. Not getting off scot-free if you're not Scott. You can't do that. I mean, just because we now decided that we're just going to hand out IDs to anybody that asks for one these days, and we don't check the IDs for anything that we do anymore, particularly in California. I mean, you can just walk in here and say, hello, yes, I'm Scott. I'd like to take my Goodwill money and get off scot-free. You can't do that. No, dang it. You can claim to be a citizen. You can claim to be a man, apparently. You can claim to be Michael Jackson, for all I know, but not Scott. Not Scott. You can't do that to get off scot-free. That's where America draws the line, dang it, okay? I mean, honestly, not people cashing in on gossip that's saying, oh, something's going wrong over here at the conservative not-for-profit organization's podcast. Look at the podcast numbers for this conservative organizations after a tragedy has happened. It used to do so well, but now the numbers are totally down for some reason. They must be lying. You know what? They must have lost their credibility. Yeah, totally. That's a totally normal conclusion. Not the hey, the show's numbers are down because one guy whose name was on the podcast and who everyone loved listening to is now mysteriously absent from the podcast, which was named after this guy. So no, the numbers being down are not due to people turning in, because they like the host. They like the host who's not there anymore. Which is, if the host is not there anymore, it tends to have a negative impact on listeners of the, this is the conclusion normal. Do you see this? This is how normal people connect dots. Like if I was going to connect dots and I'm like trying to come up with a conclusion, you have to at least think about like an alternative like reason and then say, does that make more sense than the thing I want to say? And if there's an alternative thing that makes more sense than the thing I want to say, I should at least, in all honesty, address that other thing and say why I don't think that's, you can't just, you can't just ignore the obvious. Okay, it's obviously an organizational morale decay thing, not the fact that there's the missing element is now not, that's why the numbers are down. Okay, Sherlock. That's like saying a restaurant closed because the silverware lost its integrity, not because the chef hasn't been seen since Tuesday and everyone's asking weird questions, right? If the chef's gone, why does no one show up at the restaurant anymore? The restaurant owner must have done something wrong and started being corrupt or something. No, they have crappy food because the chef's gone. Meanwhile, accountability knocks on the door saying, hey, this narrative may be profitable, but you're destroying your friends. And they're like, okay, it's okay for me, though, because I'm Scott. And therefore I get off scot-free. No, you're not. This claiming to be Scott to get off scot-free has got to go. It's gone too far. Which is at least one far too many. You've gone too far, which is at least one far too many, which is at least one many too manys, which is at least one much too much. I don't know. Anyway, I wrote a song about it. It's crazy. I would have just debunked the conspiracies like you planned on doing, which would have made the whole thing look ridiculous. And then that's how you deal with it. But whatever. I don't know. That's why I'm over here with my 5 followers. Apparently. I know how it works. People. You should listen to me. All right. I'm going to play my song. I've never heard it before, so this is my first impression.
Yeah. I Honestly, they don't debate online anymore. They don't argue, they don't reason, they don't knock on the door. They just manifest like a glitch in the feed. Born from outrage, clicks and sponsored disbelief. They lie in bold print, float rumors like smoke. Drop innuendo like a brand new crypto joke. Get rich off goodwill they never supplied, which is wild, cause goodwill's the one thing they don't have inside. No shame inside, man, it's a spectacle show. Every line crossed and they ask where the line goes. You can't get off scot-free, no, you can't get off scot-free. Check the name on the ID, if it ain't Scott, what do you want from me? Yeah, you can't get off scot-free. That loophole's tight, that gate's not wide. You can't just scream accountability, then moonwalk out the side. And the second you ask where the money all went from the sacred and personal but somehow rent-paid event, they clutch their pearls, then they disappear, trying to slip scot-free through a cloud of fear. Is your name Scott? No. Funny how fast it changes. Yesterday debunking lies, today rearranging. If you're not Scott, then why are we here? This math ain't math and it's a magic career. Oh, you can't get off scot-free. No, you can't get off scot-free. There's one free exit in the country, and it's apparently named Scott, allegedly. Hey, you can't get off scot-free. That's the rule, that's the key. Not Scott, sorry friend. That's where the loophole ends. Just cause IDs get waved like flyers downtown doesn't mean you can walk in point and cash goodwill out high. Yes, I'm Scott, just trust me, bro. With a bag full of virtue and receipts you don't show, no. You can claim you're a citizen. You can claim you're a man. You can claim you're Michael Jackson somehow again, but not Scott, no, not Scott. That's where America draws the plot. Now people gossip, whisper, act shocked and confused. Something's wrong with that non-profit podcast. The numbers look bruised. Must be dishonesty, must be decay. Couldn't be the obvious thing staring us in the face. Not hey, maybe folks tuned in for the host who suddenly gone like a narrative ghost. No, no, it's organizational right. Sherlock Holmes, definitely not the empty mic sitting alone. That's like saying a restaurant closed its doors cause the silverware failed its moral course. Not cause the chef hasn't shown since Tuesday night, and everyone's asking questions under flickering lights. Meanwhile, accountability knocks real polite. Says these stories pay, but you're torching your friends goodnight. The answer comes back with a grin so free. It's fine for me, I'm Scott, you see. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. This pretending to be Scott has gone too far. That's one too many. One much too much. One plus nonsense. Carry the shrug. Oh, you can't get off scot-free. No, you can't get off scot-free. Say it's slow for the folks in the back of the feed. Oh, you can't get off scot-free. No, you can't get off scot-free. You can't get off scot-free.
Went back to a bit more of a funky kind of thing. It's better for my drum practice. I try to get my tapping in. All right. Trying to get off scot-free. You can't just get away with that. Okay. Talking about gay dinosaurs and oh my God. Okay. All right, so let's try. I'm gonna try to be in the key of E minor in E major. So I haven't tried to do the blues thing. I don't really actually play it in E that often, which is weird because that would be a common thing to do. So I'm thinking that the major blues is kind of in between the major and minor. So the three. So you can think of it. I would think of it as either the Mixolydian for the would be the most direct way, or it's the minor pentatonic on top of the major key, which I actually think is closer to Dorian. But if I want to keep in this collection of notes, like I know this collection of notes best, which is collection of notes of C major, then where would the E be? It would be Phrygian. So I could try to say, just to try to do that, I could say, well, let me go back and forth between E Phrygian, but then I'm going to make that major, and that would be similar to what we do, like if I was in the A in this collection of notes for A, which would be around the Aeolian, right? I mean, sorry, the mix. My head is gone. It'd be the Aeolian. So we could, one way to see that is to say that, well, I'm going to have a pentatonic scale, but then I'm going to sharp the third right there, right? So you would think if you're using that logic, then, and that's the way you're thinking of it, pentatonic with a major chord, well, then you would think then you would go to E minor, which would be this collection of notes, right? E minor would be this collection of notes. So if my pinky's on the minor, then the major would be over here. So that would be a C sharp, right? Which is kind of a weird collection of notes, and that would be position number 1 would be like way up here. I'm trying to because the E, now wait a sec, that's E minor. E minor's here. So on the 12th fret, if that's, oh no, I went backwards. What am I doing? The major would be up here. Or if I go here, minor to G, that makes more sense. What am I talking about? So the G would be the major, and then the minor would be E. Position 1 is going to be right here. Jum. All right, but then because that's on the nut, you typically will start fingering kind of like position 2. I like to identify where that box is my current thing, even if I'm not seeing that as my tonic. So there's the box. And so if I'm thinking that way, my tonic is going to be the Aeolian is my tonic, right? So now the Aeolian is the tonic. Let's think of this Aeolian in the middle of the guitar. Now would be my tonic up here. This would be now position 3 and this collection of notes. And I'm thinking about that E, which is node number 6. I'll move this one up too, so you can see the distances relative to the E, which is the Aeolian. I think that's right. So then, if I was playing that, then you would think that this would be one way you can play the minor shape leaning back is this. That would be, but then you're going to sharp this one, right? So I could think about it the same way, which is how many people approach it, right? Saying this, okay, position 1 is in this open position, and then and now this would be like position 3, which I can view from a pentatonic perspective if I want. And then when I play the chord, I'm going to sharp the 3rd, and then I have the 7 in there, which is already, and from the perspective of the minor, it's already this 7, minor 7. Now wait a second. Hold on. Wait, I got that messed up. It should be back here. This way. Like that. And then, man, I'm kind of off today. A little off today. And then the 7 would be down here. So that's possibly the most common way to approach it from what I would say like a heuristic standpoint, right? If you were thinking about it like heuristically, you're like, okay, I'm just playing the pentatonic, and then when I play the chords are going to be a major 7 chord, which you can think of as in this collection of notes. You're gonna move up the 3rd, and then the 7 is minor in this collection of notes. So right, but then again, that's kind of like not really. I think that confuses a lot of people because now you're kind of playing heuristically, and you might not know exactly what collection of notes kind of you're in, you know. So I would think, but that's cool. That's one. So I can think of it like that way, and so I can, and then I could still noodle around in this collection of notes. get into that. But then if I went over, but if I thought about it this way, like in this collection of notes, like, okay, I know this collection of notes best, I could try to apply that same thing to the Phrygian. So I can say, well, if I already know this collection of notes, in the collection of notes around the C is the Ionian, that means the A is here. So this is position 1 on fret 5. So from the Aeolian to Aeolian. So what if I did that, I have the same shape, but now I'm saying, well, I'm just going to say, well, yeah, but now that's the Phrygian shape instead of the Aeolian shape, and I'm just going to do the same thing. That's still a minor third in it, so I'm just going to make it a major third from the Phrygian, and then I could add the 7 once again of the Phrygian, so I get to the same shape, right? But now I'm thinking about it from this collection of notes, which when I noodle around then might start to give me different ideas on what I'm going to do, because now I'm thinking to myself in this collection of notes, but then I'm sharpening. So, so now I don't know what that does, right? That's going to, we'll analyze it, but that's another way we can think about it. But then the other traditional way to think about it would be that E would be the Mixolydian. You can think about E major. I don't think I have that one here. So let's think E Mixolydian. I think this would be the most direct way to think about it. So now I'm going to say, okay, E is Mixolydian. So you might have to say, okay, what would be the related major so I can find that collection of notes? So it could say, okay, well, if E is Mixolydian, Mixolydian's 5. I think this needs to be moved up a little bit. So if Mixolydian is 5, how do you get back to 1, 5, 6, 7, 1? So it's going to be 3 modal half steps up. 3 modal half steps is the 4th scale degree, right? And the 4th scale degree has a distance from Mixolydian of 5 notes away. So what am I'm looking to be on E Mixolydian. So E, if I just count the notes, is note number 8. If you number the notes, which is useful to do, not everyone does it. 8 plus 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 is over 12. 13 minus 12 is 1. So we get to the collection of notes of A major, right? So I have an A major collection of notes, and which is going to be here. That would be, I put my pinky on A, and then I go back to the minor, which is going to be here, which is going to be the F sharp, right? So that would be position number 1. But I'm looking for the node number 5. So if this is 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there, boom, and that's an E. All right, so different ways you can find it, but if you wanted to number it out, that's one way to think about it. So if that's position 1, now I can do the same thing over here again. So now I'm on the 5 is now it, right? So now the 5 is my tonic. So now I could say in this collection of notes, if this is my E, same E, I'm not going to have a minor E that I'm going to sharp. I've already sharpened it because I'm looking at the Mixolydian. So therefore, this is the interplay or the in-between note. And then that would be the 5. And then the 7 is still a minor 7 because I'm not looking at the major. I'm looking at the Mixolydian. So those are the 3 that I'm going to try to go back and forth between and analyze. So now that's the idea. So let's overanalyze it, because that's what we do here. We overanalyze things until it drives people crazy, and they leave and they say, "Why are you doing it that way, you idiot? Just play the song for." Okay, and we go. Because I'm an accountant. That's what we do. Because I'm making Pythagoras proud. I'm bringing numbers back into music. Because Pythagoras would be ashamed of us abandoning numbers. Have you noticed we've abandoned, like, even when there should be numbers, even when we use numbers, we try to pretend they're not numbers because we don't say the number. We try to say like the first, the second, the third, instead of just like 1, 2, 3, you know? Because we're trying to make it into like a word, not a number. I feel like everything we do, it seems like we're trying to pretend they're not numbers, but they totally are, you know? And Pythagoras would be ashamed. And so I'm gonna correct the error and make Pythagoras proud of us again. Okay, so I'm gonna say let's think about it this way. If this is the Phrygian, let's build this out. What's gonna be the third of the Phrygian? Just to count that out, it's gonna be three third away, which is 2 modal whole steps away. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So it's going to be the 5th modal whole step, which are the 5th modal point, which is the Locrian, which in this collection of notes is a G. So the 5 is the first modal half full step, first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree of the Phrygian, of the nodal point number 3. All right, and then I can say, okay, well, that's going to be, how far away is that in half steps and notes? Well, it's from Phrygian, which is a minor node, and this is the first modal whole step, which is the second modal half step, third scale degree. Therefore, it's 3 notes away. I can count that by saying 5 notes between the strings, 4, 3. 3 notes away. All right, and that's the one that we're going to move up, because when I play the end note, I want it to be a major. So I'm kind of going in between the major and minor. So I'm going to be doing my noodle thing. Wait, from here, yeah. So then, where's the 5? 5 minus 1 is 4 modal half steps up from nodal point number 3. So 4 plus 3 is 7. So that's the Locrian node. Locrian node is the second modal whole step, which is the 4th modal half step, which is the 5th scale degree away from the Phrygian. And what's the distance in half steps? It's 7 notes away, because that's always the distance of that second modal whole step, 4th modal half step, and 5th scale degree. But that's the clockwise distance. We're going counterclockwise, or in the negative direction. 12 minus 7 would give us -5. There's a distance between the strings of 5, negative direction, -5, which has a clockwise or local distance of 7. So we have the 5 on top. So we have the 5 on top. But more importantly, possibly for a bluesy thing, is the 7. So where's the 7? So 7 minus 1 is 6. So it would be 6 modal half steps up from the 3. Or I could just go 1 back, because there's only 7 nodal points, which would be 3 minus 1 would be 2. Or 3 plus 6 would be 9. Minus 7 is 2. So that's the Dorian node. How far away should it be? Well, it's going from the minor nodal point. Therefore, it should be 10 notes away, not 11 notes away. We could see that because there's 10 notes between the string. 5, 10, 10 notes away. Bam. So that's just basically this triangle right here. So I don't really need the 5 on top. If I don't want it, I can drop it. I can grab the 5 on top, but I can drop it and just get the flavor. The 5 is just a filler. grab one down here too if I want. If I really want it. I got an open one too. Alright, so that's going to be that one. So what would I call that chord? If I'm shifting this one up, then I would like to call it a Phrygian chord, right? This would be a Phrygian nodal chord instead of a minor chord. If it was the minor third, it would be a 4-note Phrygian chord. If I add the 7 down here, and I have a minor third, or a Phrygian 3 modal whole step chord, because that would be the distance to the last node. I like that. I like saying that instead of like a minor chord or minor 7 chord, because again, it tells me that it's the Phrygian node I'm thinking of it as. But I'd rather say, hey, look, if it's a major, if I shift this up to the major, it's not really a Phrygian chord anymore, right? So I could say, well, it's a Phrygian chord with a sharp with the first modal whole step up sharped or something, right? But I'd rather just say, no, well, now what is that? It's a Mixolydian chord. So I think the best way to name that, to explain to someone what you're doing, is to say, look, I'm still looking at it as the Phrygian node in this collection of notes, but I'm making now a 4-note Mixolydian shape on it, right? Because the Mixolydian shape is the one that has the major third and the minor 7. So I'm making a Phrygian nodal chord, a Phrygian nodal point chord with a Mixolydian shape. So again, normal people will just call that, or normally we just call that a E major 7, right? I'm sorry, an E7, because the major would be have a 11 note away 7. But that doesn't really tell you which nodal point we're playing on. Is it in the collection of notes or not? If you say it's a Phrygian nodal point chord with a Mixolydian shape, a lot more context there. I have a course on this, by the way. No one cares, but they should, because if it's right, then people should care about it, because that's the way it should be done, and everybody's doing it wrong. I hate to break it to you. People get upset when you tell them that. They throw the tantrum in the supermarket. You're wrong, okay? You're doing it wrong. This is the right way to do it. Okay, so then... How do you know? I know what the right way is to do it. That's how I know. You're just making conspiracies. I'm not making conspiracies. This is facts. I can back it up. I've got the evidence. I made a whole... Okay. Let's try. Let's look at it from the E minor. Let's look at this collection of notes, E minor. So G major to E minor. And so now I'm thinking of myself as the tonic is the 6th, the Aeolian. This would be position 1. This is now position 2. And now I'm up here in what I would call position 3 from the Ionian. That would be the D position, if you want to think about it from the Ionian cage shape position. But I'm over here looking at the Aeolian, right? The Aeolian. So now the Aeolian is on the E, not the A. Aeolian up top. I can play this E. So same chord, but I'm not going to call it a Phrygian chord, even though there's a Phrygian note in it, because the root I'm thinking of, the tonic, is the Aeolian. Right? And then I'm going to do the same. So if I count this out and do the same thing, well, what if I build a chord off of the Aeolian? What normally happens? Well, I add the third. So the third minus 1 is 2 modal whole steps up. So 6 plus 2 would be 8, but there's only 7 nodal points. So 8 minus 1, 8 minus 7 is 1. So I'm looking for the Ionian. The Ionian is the first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree of the Aeolian. All right, and then that's the one that I'm going to be, so that would be the third, right? And that's the one that we're going to be moving between, because what's the distance of the third from an Aeolian? It's a minor distance of 3 notes away. That would be 5 between the strings, 4, 3. So, but I want to make it between major and minor, so we're gonna nudge that one up and smear it. Okay, what about the 5? So the fifth is going to be 5 minus 1, 4 modal half steps up. So 6 plus 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is 4. So we're looking for, wait a sec, that's not right. We're looking for 4 modal half steps up. 4 plus 6, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Right. So it's going to be the third, which is Phrygian. So Phrygian up here is going to, so the Phrygian is the second modal whole step, which is the fourth modal half step, which is the fifth scale degree of Aeolian. Always, by the way. These are universal. They're not like, any collection of 7 notes, it's the same. Wouldn't it be nice to know that? If we could memorize that just off the top of our head, we would know the same distances for all, we would have the map in our mind for all 12 collections, unlike if you just memorize the distance between each of the notes, which doesn't really tell you in relation to the map that you're on because of the collection notes, because of the spinning of the global fretboard in our Earth analogy. Okay, so so then what about the 7? If you don't know about the Earth analogy, you should check out our course. It's very useful. Earth analogy. Very useful analogy. Underutilized. We've put a lot of work into it, thought it out, and it's the most effective tool other than Excel worksheets for learning music. Both being quite controversial in the world of music theory, but we know that's how it should be. Anyway, the 7 is 7 notes away. Minus 1 would be 6 modal half steps up. 6 plus 6 would be 12. 12 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is 5, which is the Mixolydian, but you could just go 1 back because it's right behind it. So 6 minus 1 would be the 5 Mixolydian. There's our shape once again. What would you call that shape name-wise? What would be an A? It would be an if you have a minor third, it would be an E minor 7, right? But that doesn't really tell you the context of it. I'd rather say it's a 4-note Aeolian chord or an Aeolian 3 modal whole step chord, because it's 3 modal whole steps to get to the last nodal point, which is 3 times 2, 6 modal half steps plus 1 would be the 7th scale degree, getting you to that nodal point number 5, which is the Mixolydian. Okay, and then I would say, where was I going with that? But what if I sharp the third? What if I sharp the third? Well, now you could say, well, it's still a 4-note Aeolian, but it has a sharped first modal half step, second scale degree, or first modal whole step, second scale modal half step, third scale degree, if you want to think about it that way. But I'd rather say, well, now it's an on the Aeolian node, but I've converted it into a Mixolydian shape, because the Mixolydian shape has a minor third to it and a 7 that would be a major 7. So that would be the cleanest way, I would think, to name it, because that tells you exactly what's happening. That note is outside the key. I'm on the Aeolian node, but I have a Mixolydian shape, which has a third that is different than the Aeolian. The 7's still cool, it's the same. But then I have to learn the distances of the nodal points. That's called learning the map. Yes, we should learn the map. If you want to play the video game and level up, you need to know the map of the territory. And you can't know the map unless you know the Earth analogy. And no one tells you the Earth analogy because they don't know what they're talking about. So that's why I have dedicated time and energy into fixing the problem. There's that. And then if I looked at it from the Mixolydian, then this is the collection of notes for A major back to the minor here, which would be the G. Wait a sec, is that right? Why don't I have that listed out here? I have A back to F sharp. Yeah, no, F sharp. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's gonna, this would be position 1. So now I'm looking at the same collection of notes, but this is now position 2. So now I'm gonna look at this same one here, bam, that E, but now from the perspective of it being the Mixolydian. All right, let's analyze that one. So Mixolydian, I'm looking for the third of the Mixolydian. 3 minus 1 is 2, so it's 2 modal whole steps up from 5. 5, 6, 7 gets me to the 7. Right there, boom. This time it's not back here, it's up here. Why? Because it's a major third. What's the distance to the first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree from a Mixolydian node, node number 5? It's 4 notes away, not 3, because it's a major nodal point. So that's going to be 5 notes between the strings, 4. Now again, we're going to smear into it then. We're going to say minor thirds smear into the 7 instead of being out of it, being out of the shape and smearing, being in the shape and out, smearing out of the shape, right? So then we're going to say, okay, what about the 5? The 5th? Well, the 5th is 4 modal half steps up. So it'd be 5 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, and then around the horn, 1, 2. So that would be the Dorian. Dorian is going to be 7, the second modal whole step, which is the 4th modal half step. 5th scale degree is 7 notes away, but that would be the clockwise distance. 7 minus 12 would be counterclockwise distance of -5. 5 notes between the string as we go up there. Boom. All right, what about the 7? So we'd have 7 minus 1 would be 6, 6 up. So we'd say 5 plus 6, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking for Lydian, which you could also say, well, that's going to be 1 back from the 5. 5 minus 1 would be 4. So there would be our shape. Now, this one, of course, is a Mixolydian shape. When I play the shape, I don't have to adjust it because it's on the Mixolydian, which already has a major third, right? But I'm going to smear that third when I'm getting funky to a minor to the major. So that's good. So now everything kind of fits in there. It's a Mixolydian chord in the Mixolydian shape. What if I was thinking of it as the major? That means this would be the Ionian. Then it would still have a major third, but now the 7 would be out here, right? The 7 would be out here, and I'd have to say, no, I'm going to flat the 7. All right, so that's going to be the idea. Okay, I'm just going to noodle around for a while. That kind of took a lot out of me. My back hurts. I don't know. I'm noodling around. I'm trying to think of it as like I'm in Phrygian, but then I'm gonna sharp the third. So that's gonna be kind of weird because normally I'm in minor and sharp in the third. So now I'm in like Phrygian, which has this box right here, which has that weird minor second. But then I'm gonna try to do the bluesy thing of ending on a third like there. Okay. Can you do that? I don't know. That's gonna sound lame. All right. Playing this, I'm trying to say, okay, I can play this. This would be the minor third right there, but then I'm going to be out in between the major and minor, which is kind of weird because now I've got, it's kind of hard to do actually because I haven't really thought about, because now I got like a half step here. don't know.